welcome back. So for today, we'll just make a manager, and then with the manager, we're just going to put everything together, and then from there, we are going to create a game, I guess, or a game loop. And then from there, we can always make a game manager, and then we can just upcast our responsibilities. Now, how do we even start that? So first things first, we got our shooter AI right here, and we got both of these stuff. And as you remember, for the past, I don't know how many episodes, we've been trying to make this a lot decoupled as we could, and this was the most we could decouple it up. Of course, we could move it a bit more, but for now, what we're going to do is we're going to upshift our responsibilities. So how do we do that? How did I do that last time? So the first thing we did was we created a button over here, I guess, right here. So we created an event to start the checking, and once we start the event, then the thing can finally go from idle to actually doing its own state machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this logic outside to a shooter AI manager, or we could just call it an AI manager. And what it does is it will take care of starting the event. What it'll also do is, what we could do, or what we should do, is we get these points, right? And we're going to create our navigation pathways between these points. So over here we just had like one, and then we just did an example 2. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna create a few more points, and then we're gonna create a few more enemies, and we're just gonna have them move around as soon as our event starts. So we're gonna let the path maker and the navigation maker handle the path making, and then after that we're going to put those paths, or like put that list into each one of our shooter AI sequence, because in shooter AI, let's see, do we have a list of paths? Probably here. So we're going to be removing main path and navigation makers, and we're going to upcast it to our AI manager, and then we're just going to keep a list of all these paths, and then we're just going to give it to each enemy, and then from there we can move it. So I'm just going to pause and write the code, and I'll be right back. Alright, so after changing just a few things, so what we did was we removed the, it's easier if I just showed it to you. So we removed the component initialization and update. Then we also removed the node main character and the pathfinding node, and then we removed the protected, kept it in void, and then we added a few things. So now we can scroll through everything, and then we just had a main character as our node pointer. Then after that, what we did was we switched it up a little bit, just connected our main character node pointer into our main character, and then we added a new path with the duration and the path lines that we had. Then after that, we just added a bool is event begin. So if the event is begin, can move, and then the object will start moving. Alright, and then it's just going to do everything else automatically. We don't have to worry about any of that. So with that done in the way, let's actually now think about how we want to do this. And so far I had a few ideas, and the first thing we're going to do is the lazy version, which is our AI manager, which I already built and brought it out. So in here we have 3 parameters. We have a node, and a file, AI node prefab. Now here we just connected it like usual. AI prefab would take the AI, which was before known as enemy, and I would just drag it into our asset browser. So now that we did it, it became a node reference, which is perfect. So now we can just go back in here, the AI node, and just add it into our node prefab, save it, and now we have an AI node. Now if you remember how we did the bullet, and if you don't, let's just go back inside our bullet, somewhere here. There you go. if you remember how bullet existed in the gun handler, actually, wrong idea. In the gun handler, when you shoot it, world node, and then you take the value 5, the value file, and you load it into a node pointer, and then we get that bullet. So we're going to be doing the same thing here, where in our initialization, well, not initialization, but in our event start, we could initialize all our units, and then afterwards we can give another button, like let's say we had a countdown or something. After like 3 seconds it starts the game or starts the movement, so we can add that. And the best way to do that then is we can also have something of let's see, it will be dependent on the navigation mesh. So let's say if we had like let's just put 2 in both of them, right? So we have 2 paths, that's all we got, right? And then let's just add 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. So let's just add 3 enemies, right? And then let's just go inside here. We got our path 1 to 2, or we could add more points, but let's just, I guess we'll just keep it 2 for now, right? And we can just do a path from 3 to 4. All right, just for making it easy for us, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, somewhere here, right there. All right, it's just gonna be doing this, and then we can add one more later on, since this is gonna be procedural. So what we can do is in our initialize, what we can, or at least that's what I'm thinking, is loop through our list points, create a path between points, then instantiate or create AI on point, and give, or instantiate AI at I don't know, we can instantiate it on the point itself, but first let's just instantiate AI, and then after that we are going to then give list to AI, and then AI equals to, or AI.num equals to num paths, something like that. Okay, so that's all in our initialization, right? Then in update, let's just do a simple input c equals to update true, AI.update true for each AI.update true, or something like that, right? And it could just be a pointer, a lot easier to use pointers, and that's about it, because the moment we instantiate it, the thing will already have an AI node, so there's no reason to create another one. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna point towards it, and we are going to what do we call? Did I screw up? Kinda did. Okay. So now let's just push him out here. Okay, so we have our AI node, all that stuff. Good. Okay, so now we just need to input this logic, and once we input this logic, then our game would technically be on a whiteboarding moment. Alright, after writing all that stuff, we added a few things, as usual, because as you make stuff, you get better at it. So we just got int path, which returns the size of this, because we're going to be using that. And then in our AI manager, we also have a vector of shooter AI pointers and a navigation maker pointer. Now I haven't really freed these memories yet, so I would definitely have to write that later on, but for now let's just keep it like that. So in here we just added all this stuff, just a few lines, not too much. First is get the navigation node, then we reserve the size of how many lists we got. Then from all those lists, we create and instantiate this object, right? Then we take the shooter AI or the component inside this object. Then we add a path and we basically set it to that path. This is just like a temporary vector which gives us the path lists. Then we set the AI or the node itself to be sitting on that initial path. Then we say AI initialize, and I just gave it 3. You could give it whatever number, but I gave it 3. I put the path here, and then I chose main character as the main enemy, and then I pushed back the shooter AI pointer into our vector. And then over here we just have a simple update, which basically if you click C and is not started, I made a little boolean over here that says start to start the event. Then for each one of them, for all the enemies, we go into the shooter AI and we start the AI. And starting AI is basically just a simple where did you go? Right here. Start AI is just a simple function that just makes can move equals to true. Nothing really complicated, right? And then with that, then once it's started, we make it equal true. Once it's started, we're just gonna loop through them and update. And if we were to see it, we would see one small error, but I'll talk about that later. So that's the original one that we don't care about. Those are the 2 that got initialized, instantiated, and they're on the point. So now if I press C, they have everything running correctly, and they're just doing it. Now the only problem is I did not fix the, the tangent, so now it's just gonna bounce back looking at the same way, which we could fix later on, but for now I'm gonna have to do this a little bit later. As you can see, I'm gonna have to figure this out later on, but for now we got everything correct except this part, which we're gonna, again, I'll fix it later. I'm a little lazy. What we have is something that's going in a circle. Now we could definitely just make it not care about points, or like not care about the navigation and just warp through some points, but again, it's all good. So we managed to make an AI manager, and then we also managed to make our AI manager handle all the basic delegations, and we managed to get the AI node to do the heavy lifting inside once we have the AI manager ready to give it instructions. So now that we actually have this, we can create a game. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is actually create a little bit of, I guess, point system, or just I'll see what we can do. Other than that, I think the next thing, honestly speaking, should be sound, and then maybe after that we can make like a logic gate or like triggers after, you know, let's say if you died or like you got enough points or something. All right, so with that, I will see you guys next time. All right, until then, goodbye.